These next books I'm going to review were actually published originally by Kane Miller, which was acquired by the company that owns Usborne. Some of these titles may sound familiar to you, and they have quickly become some of our family's favorites. These books answer all the questions that everyone asks. This first book is pretty blunt and straightforward. It's called Everyone Poops. And if you're wondering, you're probably right, this book's all about dropping kids off at the pool. Now you may think that this is a joke, but I'm dead serious when I say this is one of the most popular books sold by Usborne. In fact, on the current list of Usborne top-selling books, Everyone Poops sits at number 2, which is pretty ironic. Now, I've heard a lot of people question whether this book's appropriate for little kids. Now, I'm not claiming to be the moral authority figure for your child, but needless to say, if you're okay with telling your kid, don't eat dog poop, then this book's probably a safe bet. It goes through explaining how all sorts of living things go number 2, and it even compares sizes of poop if that sort of thing interests you or your kids. And so each page just has some random fun facts about, well, poop. Like where we should and shouldn't go to the bathroom, but it does it in a pretty tame fashion that's appropriate for kids of all ages. I know there have been a lot of questions as to whether this book helps kids with potty training, and while there haven't been any conclusive FDA studies, I have heard reviews from some parents saying that this book did in fact help their kids become potty trained. Now, the only real issue I have with this book is that there's a little bit of false advertising with regards to the title. Everyone knows women don't go number 2, although it's hard to prove since they sit on the toilet even when they go number 1. But this does lead us into our next book, which doesn't discriminate, talks about something that everyone does, and that is the gas we pass. Now, I will admit that this book may not be for everyone, especially if you find a certain 4-letter F word to be offensive. But with that said, again, this book just answers all the questions that your kids have probably already asked you. Each page goes through explaining how and why everyone toots, and includes fun facts that you can share at your next dinner party. Like, did you know that every time you cut the cheese, it's equal to 1/2 cup? Now, I have no idea how they know that or whose job it was to find out, but I know I will never complain about my job again. There are also 2 other books in this series that we don't own yet, but that we hope to own soon. The first one's called The Holes in Your Nose. Again, this one explains why it is we have a nose, as well as some helpful tips and tricks that can prove to be very useful for curious children, like this direct quote, "The holes in your nose are not pockets." I never thought about that. Now, the title of this last book in this series is about as blunt as you can get. It's simply entitled Breasts. In all honesty, I don't have a lot of info about this book because my wife won't let me buy it. But basically, this book simply explains to kids how babies are fed. There's no nudity, just very abstract, cartoonish pictures that don't give too much detail, yet still explain some common questions your children might have. This book will be sure to bust all those bosom myths. So that does it for this edition of Nick's Picks. I hate to run, but I need to go write an email to this author because I've got a whole bunch of other questions I need him to answer. See ya!